is Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light. I just got back from a solo trip to northern Norway to a place called the Lofoten Islands, and I was guided to go there by my guides. Welcome to video 2 of the Lofoten Islands series, which features me on day 1 in arriving at night in the Lofoten Islands. This video is a bit all over the place. It's the raw version of me after 3 flights and barely any sleep, just arriving at my hostel in the Lofoten Islands. Even though I was exhausted, I wanted to stay true to my commitment of documenting this trip to capture the energy and insights along the way. The following videos after this one are much more grounded, with some beautiful channelings and synchronicities, but this one sets the stage. Since I wasn't the clearest in this raw intro video, I've included some key themes, both from this video and the series as a whole, to give you a better feel for what's ahead. In this very raw video, you will hear about my emotional transmutation process and how transmutation helps us to focus, how dealing with not sleeping, which has been my favorite thing, aka leaving our comfort zones, is actually a gift. You'll hear about unexpected challenges, we'll call that stick shift 10 years later, when the universe inspires us and things don't go as planned, and can I trust that I might see the northern lights even with a cloudy forecast every night? By the end of this video, you'll be wondering, will Brittany be able to drive around the island? Will the universe send her help? And with a cloudy forecast for every single day and night that she is there, will she see the northern lights? Stay tuned in this video and the next to find out. I love you all. Enjoy. Hey everybody, this is Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light, and today I'm coming to you live from the Lofoten Islands in Norway. This is the most north I've ever been in my whole life. I was inspired to come here by my guides for many reasons, but one of them was to focus more on channeling. So they and I figured, what better way to really feel into the energies that are occurring right now than to go on a solo trip way out of my comfort zone. It's just begun and it's already been very interesting. So I wrote down a couple of notes about messages that I've already gotten. So I'm going to go through these. Here's what I'm noticing. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of physical disruption in the matrix, earthquakes, tales of war, dissatisfaction with the way life is, unhappiness with jobs, partners, and other things like that. And the main guidance that I've gotten is that this is our chance to really practice our peace. And part of practicing our peace isn't suppressing emotions, but it's actively transmuting them. And so I don't know what your transmutation process is, but for me, I've really been focusing on venting all of my thoughts, all of my feelings, letting it out, being mad, being upset, being sad, whatever it is. And once I let the emotion out, doesn't mean I mean any of those things, doesn't mean I'm attached to any of those things. I find my field feels a lot better. And I think energetically, I'm much less likely to get in trouble. And I'll explain that in a moment. So I'll tell you about my adventure so far. So I booked this trip maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Again, this came kind of out of the blue, but I had a gap in work and I've been wanting to get away for a while because even at home when I have times off work, it just feels like it always gets filled in with friends or family or work, and I love my life, so it's not a bad thing. I happily invite those moments in, but I have really been feeling inspired to dig deeper into channeling. I want to do this more, and I feel like it's one way that I can really serve humanity at this time. I had a really busy couple of weeks, even the week leading up to this. I had a whole day that I was going to take off, and I ended up taking a lot of clients on that day because I wanted to get the last few people in before I left, which also I'm so grateful that people want to work with me. So again, and in the moment when people reached out, it felt totally fine. But I was like, oh yeah, totally. I want to work with you. I'm so happy that I'm providing space for everyone. But then by the time I left for my trip, I felt very disorganized. I way overpacked, which I think is purposeful, and I'll tell you about that eventually. My flights weren't exactly perfect. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. And for those of you who know me, sleep has been a foundation of my wellness, especially my emotional and mental well-being. I also notice that when I'm well slept, I'm way less bloated. But this sleeping thing, like I could feel so bloated the night before. And then the next day I wake up and after a good night's sleep, my stomach's flat again. Not to say it's all about that, but it's more about the comfort, the feeling of being connected to my core. And when I don't have as much bloating, I feel much more connected to my core. Whereas when I'm very bloated, I don't. So basically that whole week I didn't sleep much. So then my flight was at 6:40 p.m. on Friday night. I slept maybe a couple hours, but arrived at my destination in the morning, and it was AM time here. So that was very confusing because I didn't really sleep. So then I went through the day and went to bed that night, but I was also awake by the nighttime because Europe time is much different than America time. So then on Sunday, I did sleep a bit, like a couple hours, but then Sunday night, I was not very tired. I had to be up at 4:45 to walk to the train station by myself, which wasn't a big deal, but for me, it was just, again, out of my comfort zone. And then I had to take the train to the airport. And then from the airport, I had 3 flights scheduled. The first one was very early. They were all only an hour or less. And then I arrived in Oslo at 9 a.m. Then I had another flight, I think at 11, which landed in Bodo at 12:25. And then for some reason, I don't know, I didn't book my final flight, which was only 30 minutes, to Norway, to the Lofoten Islands, until 6, almost 7 p.m. that night. So I had a bunch of hours to kill. But meanwhile, like the whole day, I've been so tired, so underslept for so many days, nauseous on every single plane ride. Not the whole time, but like waves of nausea having to do with my lack of sleep. And so then I finally got to the Lofoten Islands, and I'm so tired, but I'm like, all I have to do is pick up my rental car, which I rented from a nice man via the GoMe or GroupMe app or something. It's kind of like their version of Turo. And I got into the car with him because we just had to drive a bit from the airport because you can't stay there. And I look at the shifter, which in my car, I rented this car because it's the exact same car that I have. So I just thought, easy, right? Well, it's manual. And I do know how to drive a manual car, but it may have been 10 years since I last drove one. So I am so tired, like multiple nights sleep missed all day up. And the guy picks me up and he's like, oh yeah, it's manual. So I just let him know I can drive a manual and I know I can, but I totally forgot how. So he's giving me a lesson in the parking lot. I'm like, I would not give me this car. It went fine. So then after he left, I went to get some water and I called a friend and I just broke down in tears. I'm like, I'm so tired. And now I have to drive stick shift. And the roads here also, like, it's snowy. The roads are thin. And on the side of every road is like a divot. And I don't even know, like, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, I don't know that. It's dark now. I'm turning on my light so I can see which one I'm supposed to. Anyway, I didn't even stall once in the parking lot. But after that, I didn't stall once. I totally figured it out. But one of the messages I got, because I'm like, why, universe? You know, you go on a trip or the universe inspires you to do something. And you, like, there's a part of us, or at least there's a part of me, that expects everything to work out. But I know that's not why I travel. You travel to leave your comfort zone. And so I'm already leaving my comfort zone. I had some anxiety before the flights, which I had some great guidance about. And maybe I'll get into that at some point. But what the message I got is that right now we're all being tested. And for me, as I shared already, sleep has been a really big cornerstone of my health and wellness. And what the universe is letting me see is that I don't need anything to function, and that I can still be peace, and I can still keep my thoughts very positive. I can still project and manifest into the future the things I want, even when my mind feels like mush. And so I realized that that was the gift. The gift was being so overtired and then being tasked with a situation that was going to require me to think really hard. And so the whole time I drove here, it was only about 25 minutes. But again, it's dark. I don't even know. LOL. The whole time I drove, I was singing to keep myself focused and calm. And I was just making up songs, but the songs were definitely channeled. And so the songs were all about how I haven't been tasked with going through motherhood. And a lot of times mothers go through this inability to sleep. And if they can do it and take care of a child, then I can do it and drive 25 minutes in a country I've never driven in before, in a place I've never been before, at night. And here in the Lofoten Islands, like, there are massive mountains everywhere. So it's also hard to not look at that because there's water and mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous, but also kind of intimidating. It reminds me of driving in a mountain town where there's snow and mountains, and it's just not, I mean, I'm from New Jersey. It's very flat. So this is not my normalcy. So basically, we're all being pushed outside of our comfort zone right now. For me, it's with sleep. Let me know in the comments the ways that you think the universe is pushing you outside of your comfort zone right now. So we're being pushed past our normal boundaries, the ways which we've coped, to show us that we are capable of anything that we desire. So the other part of this lesson, so I've come here because I was inspired to. It's a long story, and again, maybe I'll get into that in another video. But basically, part of the inspiration was to possibly see the Northern Lights. And so I really felt inspired to come during these dates. It's about the last 2 weeks that you can see the Northern Lights in Norway. Once you hit mid-April, it's too light because they start to get closer to their midnight sun time. And so another lesson that we're being asked to do right now in these very challenging circumstances is trust. Now, I'm not attached to seeing the Northern Lights. I've made that very clear. I've imagined myself seeing them, and I did get to see them this year in New Jersey, and that was part of the reason I came here. But basically, even though the forecast is cloudy every single day I'm here, the universe is asking me to trust. And sometimes the universe leads us to places with a carrot and the stick, and we think we're going for one reason, but we don't actually know the reason we're going. So I may end up seeing the Northern Lights, and maybe this is a lesson in trusting and not believing in the forecast or always focusing on the negative, or that the forecast says this, so I'm not going to see them. Which when I called my friend, hysterically crying, not hysterically, but I just needed to have a release. I'm like, I'm not going to see the Northern Lights. I'm here by myself. I don't know how to drive a stick shift. I'm so tired. And what I found too with that, and this is really important. Well, let me finish the trust and then I'll go back to that. So trusting that when we're called to go somewhere and we can let go of our ego attachment, which in this case, mine would be seeing the Northern Lights, or trusting when life says you're going to drive a stick shift when you're really tired, that is what you're meant to do. On transmutation of emotions, here's an example of how I transmutated my emotions, because we are going to be overwhelmed. That's the whole thing about Earth. We're not here to have an easy life. We're here to be challenged. The challenge is life is going to throw endless disruptions, upsets, things that try to move us out of our peace. And our only job is to see that we are here to be the peace. So tonight, when I got overwhelmed, I called my friend and I'm crying and I'm saying all those things. But once I did that, my energy immediately felt better. And not to say that anything bad would have happened, but remember, when we hold on to emotions, we are sitting in that vibrational attraction. And there was definitely once or twice where I definitely got a little too close to the side of the road. Now, I'm not saying I would have flipped the car or anything like that. I put the golden light all around me. I called all my guides and teachers in, including the Nordic extraterrestrials, which are here, I'm sure, and possibly a chance meeting with them. But I think that the rest of my night went smooth. I got here, I did miss the turn, so I had to do reverse with stick shift, another challenge. Anyway, I got here, I found my room, I even made it to the sauna, jumped in the lake, in the freezing cold lake, which had this beautiful mountain view, and the end of my night went well, and my mind feels okay. I mean, I can't wait to go to sleep. But part of my challenge here is being disciplined, making a video, sharing with you guys my experiences and the energetic downloads I'm getting, and also to just be my authentic self and channel more. So that has been my experience. Make sure that you're transmutating your emotions so that you're not holding them. Whatever process works for you. For me, sometimes I have to vent, sometimes I have to cry, but I really could feel that I had shifted my emotions and it allowed me to focus on driving. Whereas if I was really in my head about that thing, it's when we lose our focus because we're so emotionally entangled, that's when we can get into trouble. That's why the Course in Miracles is all about mind training. It's just about our focus. That's really what we've lost here, is the ability to focus on love all the time. God, universe, is always focused on love. That's why he doesn't, or she, or whatever, doesn't really play in this realm, because this realm is about contrast. This realm is about other things, but you can exist in this reality and be your God presence. But you have to do the work, transmuting the emotions, deeply moving into your creative processes, creating close connections and relationships with others, forming communities, doing your mind training, or figuring out how you want to move through lessons. That's the work. The work is when the emotions come, you find the path. Now, that doesn't mean you'll find it right away. And maybe in another situation, I just stayed in the parking lot for a while and I cried by myself. There are all sorts of ways, but we definitely need to lean on each other and we definitely need to figure out our way. I remember hearing this, I think we learned about it at Optimum Health Institute in San Diego, California, when my dad and I went there. And we were told that the way we are supposed to experience our emotions is like a toddler. And toddlers, they have a fit and then they're better. Now, that doesn't mean you should have a fit and put that energy towards someone. Someone may trigger that energy in you, but that's not them. That's within you. But it's best for us to fully experience our emotions, because when we don't experience them, that's when we shove it down. And I know when I usually am saying I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. That's me kind of spiritually bypassing, shoving down emotions. And then what often happens is the universe has to wear me down or put me in situations where my boundaries are tested, where my abilities are tested, or where I'm just not comfortable. And hence why I'm traveling. So the guides are saying that I did a good job communicating everything they would have wanted to say. And so they just want to start off tonight with that. We're going to pick up in the next videos talking about how I deal with flight anxiety, connecting with past loved ones, and I don't know what else, but I'm going to write those down before I forget. I love you guys so much. Would love to hear what's going on with you in the comments, in the chat. Thanks for being here. And I am actually going to post a video every single day. You can hold me accountable to that, okay? All right. Because I know I say I'm going to do stuff and then I don't, but I really want to serve humanity this way. And I'm here for you guys. I hope this video helps someone out there. I love you all so much. And if I can find a guitar here, because I decided not to bring my guitar, I'm definitely going to be covering some songs while I'm here as well. I've had a few people tell me that some of the covers I've done, they've listened to when they were sad and it made them feel better. And that is exactly what my intention with my music is. It's to, again, be another way to transmute emotions, sometimes very deep, sad, or even just like, those like songs that you just really feel. They can help you move through emotions. That's why I think Taylor Swift's so popular, honestly. She just covers all the boy stuff. All right, guys, I love you so much. Thanks for being here. I will speak to you again with my guides and maybe the Nordic ETs tomorrow. Bye. I don't know how to say bye yet in Norwegian. Maybe tomorrow. Bye.